Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today I've borrowed this 2020 Jaguar E Pace from my friends at Jaguar of Shreveport. And as always, if you want to know more about this particular model, or maybe something I didn't cover in the video, check the description of the video to find a link to this very model on the Jaguar of Shreveport website. This is a Fuji white exterior color with ebony interior. We'll take a quick look at the interior real quick and get a better look at it in just a couple of minutes after we conclude our exterior tour. This is an all-wheel drive SUV. It features optional 21-inch wheels, and under the hood, and we'll take a look at this in just a minute, is the rather potent 2-liter 4-cylinder. A lot of the time when you hear numbers like that, a 2-liter 4-cylinder, you don't really think of a stout engine, but believe it or not, this one is in pretty good shape. We'll talk about that in just a minute, a little bit more. This model does come with LED headlights and signature daytime running lights, as well as auto assist high beams. And just taking a quick look around here on the front end, of course, as you can see, there are the sensors here on the front bumper. And while we talk about that, I will put the information on the screen as far as a highlight of some of the safety features that you can expect with this particular model. And like I said, a lot of the time when people hear 2-liter 4-cylinder, they don't really think of much power, but 296 horsepower. And of course, it is all-wheel drive, as I mentioned earlier. Not really hurting for power, and not really hurting for good numbers as far as gas mileage goes. 21 city, 27 out on the highway. And that bodes well, because that means you're not only going to save gas over the long term, but also when you need a little bit of horsepower under your foot, it is definitely going to be there. As we just take a quick look at the exterior, for 2020, one of the standard features, something you're definitely going to start seeing a lot more on most vehicles, is found on this model, which is the fact that Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are now standard as opposed to optional. If a car maker is not making those features standard, they're probably going to fall behind very quickly. And as I mentioned earlier, this is an all-wheel drive model known as the P300, and you do have a power rear liftgate. Got a lot of stuff sitting in there, but just to show you what's there, of course, you do have a bit of a cargo cover right here. Not a very big one, but that is removable if you wish to take that out and maximize your cargo space. And I'm putting the numbers on the screen as far as cargo space and towing as well. And of course, multiple options for opening and or closing the rear lift gate. Now, two things you'll notice here. There is a very nice rear roof spoiler, and you also have the black contrast on the roof as well that really sets this model off. Of course, privacy glass here in the rear. And one thing that really caught my attention when I took a look into the interior, of course, you have the ebony interior, but this blue contrast stitching, that really pops and really sets this off in a pretty significant way. I really like what Jaguar has done in that respect. And you do have dual air conditioning vents, although not a very large interior, so definitely going to have plenty of airflow here. And there is a 12-volt power outlet right here. If you're wondering about USB ports, not any in the back seat right here, but as always, the adapter to change that over to be used as a USB. Not that terribly expensive, so something that is easily doable. And just a quick look over here to the door itself. Of course, more of that blue contrast stitching and the door bins right there for whatever you wish to store in there, and a little more space here with these, not really what I would call map pockets, but kind of the same idea, just the net material instead. And just a quick look at the driver's side door as we begin to move into the front seat, and that's probably kind of hard to see, a little bit of a glare out here, but you do have the R Dynamic logo here on the door sill. I like the way that looks. Power seats for the driver and passenger here in the front. A little bit of bolstering here, so if you ever want to drive your E-Pace spiritedly, well, you can keep yourself and your front seat passenger in place as you're driving down the road, or hey, maybe even around the track, depending on what you wish to do. A quick look here at the steering wheel. Of course, all of your steering wheel mounted controls, what you would expect. Here's your cruise control. And one thing I want to show, let's see if we can get back here and show the size of these shifter paddles. So I like the fact that you can reach way down low. You don't have to just use a small paddle that's up here. You can actually put your hand quite far down on those shifter paddles if you wish to use those. And a quick look at the instrument cluster. And while I'm looking over here at the controls for your windshield wipers, you do have rain sensing windshield wipers, something I didn't talk about when we were looking at the exterior earlier. And here's something that might be of interesting note for an enthusiast at least, or someone who might want to own one of these. It looks like you only have 2 driving modes. You're just going to toggle back and forth, but let me show you what you actually get on the screen when you begin selecting a mode. There are multiple driving modes, as you can see: dynamic, comfort, eco, and of course you have snow, rain, snow, and ice mode if you ever need that. So just to kind of show you what's there real quick, and of course here is your infotainment screen, a very simple screen to use if you haven't ever seen these before. Maybe we'll do a full tour of that only if I get enough requests to. Take a look at what you have with your cameras. Let's push that and just see how long it takes. There we go. I probably just need to push it once and be patient. But as you can see, that is the rear camera view that you have right there. And we'll go back and just show you what's there. Of course, as you can see, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay available. You have a web browser, contacts, voice commands, let's say that correctly, and all those nice features here. And of course, you can go in and make a lot of changes and customize a lot of different features depending on what your desires are. And of course, right below here, all the controls for your air conditioner. And of course, you can control the dual zone climate control right here and the fan speed. And as you can see, additional buttons for controlling the AC as well. And here is the control for your radio, for volume, or if you just want to mute that. And of course, some of the other features here, you can turn the auto stop start feature on and or off. And of course, traction control as well. And you do have a little bit of space up there as far as storage for a cell phone, another 12-volt power outlet. Now you might wonder, where are the USB ports? As we pan back here, of course, there are your drink holders, and there are the 2 USB ports. Actually, 3 12-volt power outlets in this model. If you use something that requires a 12-volt, you're going to be in very good shape. And we'll just, for the interest of fair reporting, open the glove box to show you what's there. Quite a bit of space in that glove box. We'll just put this stuff back in. As we start our test drive with the E Pace, I'm breaking with tradition. If you watch me regularly, you know that typically I'm driving in the most aggressive mode. In this case, it would be dynamic. I'm actually in comfort mode right now. That way I can give you a better idea of how this E Pace handles in multiple driving modes. Of course, this is a road that I travel quite regularly as I live in the area. And just driving down the road, even though you're going to notice the bumps, the way this E Pace soaks up the bumps is really impressive. Being a smaller SUV, this is a luxury SUV. And it rides like a luxury SUV, at least in comfort mode it does. Very comfortable, very enjoyable to drive. And a shorter wheelbase vehicle like this, being a 2-row SUV, doesn't have quite the wheelbase length that some vehicles do. That makes a difference in how a vehicle rides. And I have to say, even with that being the case, the ride quality is very good in comfort mode. Now I'm going to reach down and I'm going to select and go down to dynamic. And we're going to see what kind of a difference. And believe it or not, you probably can't hear this on the video. It makes a minor difference in the exhaust note. You can hear just a little bit of a change there. It's not very dramatic, but it does make a little bit of a change in how the engine sounds. We'll just go cruising through the corner here. Very good cornering, very, very enjoyable to drive. And of course, as you would expect with an all-wheel drive vehicle, it's going to stick to the road, absolutely no problem. And even though the horsepower is really good for being a 4-cylinder engine, it's not meant to be super fast. But let's get up here and get straightened out and see how we do. It actually doesn't sound too terribly bad even for a 4-cylinder, but you can hear the engine beginning to work as I dropped the gas pedal to the floor. It took a little bit of time because of some turbo lag to really get this model up and running, but not too bad. And one thing you probably can't see, I don't know if you could see it when I was showing you the dashboard earlier. Obviously, it looks a lot better now. You have traffic sign recognition, so that is an option on this model. And earlier, I did show you the trim levels and the base price, the starting price on all of those. I try and show that in all of my videos on these models of vehicles. And that's one reason I show a screenshot from the dealership's website of this very vehicle, so you can see what its price is. Overall, I must say, I really am impressed. Even in dynamic mode, the ride quality is still pretty much the same as it was in comfort mode. That's pretty good. I notice a small difference in the stiffness of the suspension and the overall ride quality, but not enough to hurt anything really. It's obviously meant to give it a little bit more of a sporty feel and kind of tighten things up. So ultimately very impressed with how this model rides, how it drives. Steering wheel is good and comfortable and very responsive to the touch. Something you would expect, especially with an all-wheel drive model. It hugs the road well, great handling characteristics, good comfort, a lot of nice modern conveniences here with the 2020 E Pace. And as soon as the 21 is available at Jaguar of Shreveport, I will make sure to pick that one up and we'll show the differences on that one if there are any notable changes for the 2021 model year. And hey, as always, guys, we get to show the bad drivers of Shreveport. I probably need to be way back behind this line when it comes to people turning left from that direction over there from my right. Anyway, you know, like I say a lot of the time, I probably need to start a second channel where all I do is show bad drivers around here, because there's no shortage of them. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled program. Gotta say thanks to my friends at Jaguar of Shreveport for loaning me this model for the day, and all of you for being kind enough to take the time to watch. Always let me know what you want to see me feature, whether it's a particular tutorial, a particular feature, or just a particular vehicle on this YouTube channel. I appreciate your time, guys. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye-bye.